Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, my name is Brad. This is my channel Animate Orange, where I build a lot of 3D metal models and show you how I do it. Today on the table I am building from Metal Earth the United States Capitol. And this is kind of an older model, been sitting on it for a little while. Time to clean off my desk and catch up with my queue. Let's open this up, see if it's as complicated as the picture makes it look, and put it together. United States Capitol building. Inside we have, I bet it's two sheets. And indeed, sheet one, come apart, and sheet two. Ta-da! These parts are a bit small, not terribly small. I shouldn't say that. There's a fair amount of parts on here. Maybe a little complicated. Our one sheet of instructions. Is printed on both sides. So we fold this in half. We start with the top of the front page with our usual Metal Earth 3D laser cut model, QR code, and the web address for the 360 view if you need to go look at this online. The line drawing of the model in one of the sheets. Our little informative section about insertion tabs and fold lines and insertion holes. Little bit about needle nose pliers being helpful for assembling, and our legend, blue circle, when you see that in the assembly flowchart, means to insert the tab and bend 90 degrees. Green triangle, when you see that at a connection, and I don't see any examples on this page, it means to insert a tab and twist it 90 degrees instead of folding it over. And down here we have the line drawing of the two sheets. I'll grab one of them to compare. You can see these are the parts on this sheet. They're numbered so that you can find each individual part as you put it together. Over on this side we have the start of the assembly flowchart, starting with part 1, 2, and 3, and these fold and connect together, folded over. That's going to be a little bit of fun to start with. And then this attaches down here to part 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 refer to 4's structure to assemble. I suppose this is just saying for parts 1 through 8, just refer to this to know how to shape the different parts. I guess that's what that's trying to communicate. We flip down here, we continue on adding on more pieces. You just start on this side. This is the bottom half of the page. You just follow the arrow and add in the parts as they come along. Add in these parts, follow down, add in this part. When you get to the bottom of the first page, flip it over to the other side, and you start at the top here, and this corner, fold and shape these parts. You get to the center, you jump over to this side, continue folding and shaping that, and then back to this, back to this main piece, adding these parts on, and then this part on. Slide down. Once you get to this middle again, you go to this quarter, because this is broken up into quarters, and continue on this page, following the arrows and adding parts and sub-assemblies, and then this side, and once you get to the bottom you are finished with your completed model. Let's take a moment to talk about the tools that I use. This is my standard set that I use in most every build. I have long needle nose pliers and flat nose pliers, useful for a variety of different things. I have flush clippers that I use to cut the parts off the trees. It makes it quick and easy. And then I have some precision tweezers, one with a very pointed end, one that's had the pointed end ground down slightly, and one with a flat, sort of curved end, great for getting into curved areas. And then I have a standard set of tweezers with an angled tip. These come in one of the Iconics models, and I love them and use them a lot. When it comes to shaping rounded parts, there are many options. I used dowel rods for a long time. I sharpened the ends of 2 of them with a pencil sharpener. These 2 are great for making cone shapes. Another option is a cheap drill bit set. This set has quite a few different sizes to choose from. Another option is a set of step mandrels. For shaping ball shapes or dome shapes, I've got this fondant set, I believe it's called. I found it by accident, but essentially it's got different sized spears on the end of a stick, so it's easy to hold on to it while you put a part on it and shape it around, unlike a bead or marble that could accidentally pop out from under you and cause problems. I don't use these very often, but they sometimes come in quite handy. They're angled needle nose pliers, and I typically use them for one of two reasons. Either getting into a strange shaped area to twist a tab because of the angle. More frequently though, I use them to fold over flaps along bases or side of parts that are too long for the flat nose pliers, but needle nose pliers can't get to them safely without bending or warping something else. These will grab a longer area and bend it over. I've looked over the instructions. We've got our metal sheets, talked a little bit about tools. Let's put this thing together. I started this build not just clipping out parts I needed, but clipping parts out of parts I needed. There are a lot of bends in these walls, but fortunately they're all right angles, which are pretty easy to eyeball. For some reason, I had great trouble getting the wall in place starting on one side, but once I went to the other side and started there, things more easily fell into place. I twisted the tabs, holding the sides on to secure them. Now that several pieces are on, I am going back to untwist and fold over those tabs.
Back to the previous clipped out parts. You might have to pinch these tabs in to allow them to fit when bending over the top. After closing part 20, I realized that I should have wrapped it around the rest of the dome assembly first before closing it. I worried that I would not have room to twist the tabs if I bent over all the side pieces here. I opted to fold the sides over on this one before attaching the top dome parts this time. The sides were easier to bend over without the tabs in the way. These two tabs on the edge of the roof were quite tight. Bear in mind as you're watching this video that it is edited, and I have clipped out a lot of boring and repetitive parts, and sometimes sections where I've had to make multiple tries and adjustments to get a part to fit. That may make it look like this build comes together a little easier than it actually did. So keep that in mind when you're doing your own build. Take your time and be patient. It may take several tries and adjustments to get things to fit. the U.S. Capitol. Ta-da! And not too bad looking. I was a bit concerned with this one that the dome up top would be particularly crooked. Well, it is a little bit, but not terribly bad. This is a bit more of a complex model. It kind of looks like it might be on the simple side, but then again it doesn't. Maybe a little bit more complicated than I thought. It took 2 hours to put it together, and adding on all the different sides can be a bit tedious because things just barely fit into place. But really the most complicated part is the dome. There are a lot of pieces to that dome, and I didn't realize there were quite so many. It seemed to just kept add more and more and more pieces. That many pieces, I thought it was going to be particularly wonky and crooked, and it is a little bit, but it's not too bad. Overall, this turned out pretty good, surprisingly so. A little bit challenging, but worth it in the end. It looks pretty freaking neat. I'm happy with that. As happy, if not happier, than with the White House one. I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions or comments, as always, feel free to leave them down below. Please consider supporting this YouTube channel by checking out my Patreon. There's a link down in the description and at the end of this video. Consider giving just a small amount so that I can continue to bring these build videos to you. Thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.